All right. Well, we now welcome in SDSU head coach Aaron Johnston. Coach, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Another year as reigning champs, back-to-back tournament titles. But last season, you did it with tons of adversity through injury. How much of a year was it for this team and everything it had to overcome?
Yeah, it was. I'd use the word emotional year. I mean, we had 4 season-ending injuries. They all kind of happened right there in front of you, so you see it and you're trying to react or respond to it. We had a couple other minor injuries come up where people missed games. So yeah, it felt emotional. I don't know how else to describe it. And it's not just for those players going through the injury, but the players on the team who are playing almost feel guilty.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why am I playing?
Mhm.
And then you're working, with obviously families and parents and siblings. And it's just, it was a emotional year. Now I remind people that the success we had, I mean, we still had Brooklyn Meyer and Paige, so we still had a ton of talent on the team, but trying to help people work through that was an emotional drain. I think that's how we all felt. That's a fair word.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel like last year taught the girls that are remaining on this team?
Yeah, just stay focused on what you can control. Keep moving forward. I always try and tell people we're pretty boring. Like, if you're looking for great buzzwords and stuff, that's not us. We're just trying to be really consistent, try and be there for each other every single day. And that's been a good process for us. And last year was a great reminder of the importance of trying to take care of each other, be the best you can for the people around you. Everybody's dealing with stuff, and I think our team came out on the right side of that because they just kept their consistency. They tried to take it day by day and turned out great for us.
One person's adversity can become another's opportunity. And you had some kids step up last year. One of the ones to me that I thought seemed to make one of the biggest impacts was Mesa Byam, because she was a player that was like 3 minutes a game the year before. Last year, she's upwards 20 and became a dominant presence for you of what you needed in that post. Just talk a little bit about those that stepped up, bigger roles, bigger stage, and they did it without even flinching.
Yeah, no, they're great. I'm sure we have a bunch of people are thinking, why weren't you playing Mesa and Maddie and Ellie more? What are you doing? Because they were that good.
Yeah.
They didn't just come in and fill in. Like Mesa, you go back to our conference tournament championship game against NDSU. Mesa was huge in that second half. Had a big 3, a couple big rebounds, a big and one. And throughout the year, she made those plays. She's so athletic and long. She can do so many things. She can shoot it from the perimeter, good passer, good rebounder. And to have her as a what was going to be a backup role into a starter kind of speaks to the depth that we've had over the years. Maddie Mathewitz is another great example of that. One of the just real all-time leading scorers in the state of Minnesota, was a good player for us, but had to grow into a bigger role. Ellie Kolbeck is one of those players too, who was, started for us. I've already told people this a few times, but this year, because of all of our adversity, we actually return 8 starters.
Yes.
We've had 8 people that have had significant starting time, which is incredibly rare, but that speaks to the adversity.
Yeah.
So I just think over the years, we've always been able to overcome some of those bumps in the road. Like you said, one injury is an opportunity, and our players have taken it in stride and come out on the right side.
Now you get 2 of those players back, and you bring Timmer, you bring Thiessen back. What does that add to the mix? And not only maybe just from a competitiveness in practice and how they push each other to get better, but you only have so many minutes to dole out. And that's a number for a coach to decide what's going to be the best. How do you see them fitting back into this mix? And what does that do for your lineup?
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad we haven't had to make those choices yet or have those conversations yet. But it is going to happen. And we've talked about it as a team. We've said, hey, listen, the reality is we have more people than playing time and people that are capable of playing. So let's at least understand that. These next couple of weeks, we're going to sort through how to put all that together. Callie and Haley coming back, to your point, just bring – like Haley's a all-conference player, she was conference tournament player of the year a couple of years ago. She brings that kind of ability to us. And Callie's a captain with the team. She's one of the best defensive players in our league, just knows what it takes to win. So those 2 are going to have a big impact in our team this year. How they fit in, that's going to have a lot to do with how everybody else does too. And then that doesn't even account for what we feel like is a really elite freshman class, all filled with players that could easily play for us right away. So we're going to have a giving personality. And I say that seriously. We've used that word this year. If you're interested in doing your own thing, it's going to be a tough year for that person.
Right.
But I think it'll help too. Last year, Paige, Brooklyn, some of our players played almost too many minutes.
Yes.
Because of our situation. So this year, I think they can be as productive, but do it a little bit fewer minutes, try and save a little bit of mileage there too, I think. So it's good.
Well, we got to talk about the 1-2 punch in Brooklyn and in Paige. And I was so impressed with the breakout season that Brooklyn had a year ago. I think we talked about it during the wintertime, her stamina, her ability to stay on the floor, not a foul trouble. Yep. She's always had good hands. She always had good footwork, but she handled the contact and how people guarded her, and she was able to score and finish for you. To have a guard that can find her, that can also create, not everybody has that. Yep. What do these two mean to your success going forward?
Yeah, they've been huge for us, really. Last year, they just defined themselves as elite players in our area. Not just our league, but either could be, starters for
absolutely
around
100%.
And so to have them both and have them click the way they do, put them in a lot of pick and roll stuff, post up stuff. They just know how to play basketball, and everybody else kind of feeds off of what they do. They both are also big time energy players, so they bring a lot of confidence and just the right attitude to everybody else. They're incredibly hard working players. They're in the gym all the time, so they lead in that way too. But they just allow us to play. A lot of basketball has kind of become a really guard-oriented game, obviously, but Brooklyn just allows us to play so differently and be able to just run things through her because she is such a good passer too. So we'll run some sets where it starts with her in the post, knowing that she's probably going to kick it out to somebody after some actions. And not a lot of teams have that presence where you have to really define how you're going to guard her, but then that changes how you open things up on the perimeter. So we're lucky to have that, two players of that caliber, two different positions, which really change how people have to defend us. It's fun to have Brooklyn back for, her junior year. Paige got one more run at this, but then the complementary players around those two are just so talented and deep this year too. That'll take some pressure off of both of them, I hope.
High expectations, then you've got to set yourself up. You've done that. The non-conference schedule is not easy. You've got Creighton, you've got Duke, you go to Texas in December. You open Summit League play with the number 2 pick team in this league, Oral Roberts. Talk a little bit about what you want to see from this group early, because it's going to be a challenge.
It is. Our scheduling coach, Megan Lewick, just became the head coach at St. Olaf College of Minnesota. I think she did that on her way out. Hey, coach,
here's this little for you.
That was a parting gift.
Have fun. I'll see you later. It's great. We love all those opportunities. They're so fun. Duke to our place, but we'll go back to Duke. Playing Cameron indoor will be great for us. Yeah. Texas is so good, so talented, but go back to their place or go to their place, and they'll come back to ours. Those things are just opportunities you can't say no to. Yeah. And they help us measure where we're at. Our goal is to not only play in the NCAA tournament, but to advance in the NCAA tournament. And you're going to run into teams like that. And you have to figure out what it's going to take to beat them in those moments. And you have to do that by playing them. So we look forward to that. Our players, I think, come to South Dakota State knowing that's going to be in front of them. I think it's an advantage for us. I think that's not a huge, but it's a factor in their decision to come here. What's my experience going to look like? And so we're going to embrace those. We open up the new remodeled, but new arena this year. Fans are going to be excited about that. So between the schedule and the arena, there's a lot of interest in women's basketball.
100%.
Yeah.
Earlier, you said you guys are a little bit boring. No buzzwords for you, but I feel like the buzzword that I would put with you guys, and you already said it, was consistent. And that's just something year in, year out. There's a high expectation. The goals are set. And you guys achieve those goals. What's at the foundation of this program that maybe you've set, the players that have come through your program have set, that this is the standard and this is how we meet it every year, that allows you to be consistent every year?
Yeah, no, that's good. We talk and listen to our players a lot. I think, asking Coach AJ 15 years ago probably be just a different approach. And now it's just super conversational. How are you doing in your day? How is this experience impacting you? What are you enjoying? What do we got to get better at? How do you feel about your role? It's a constant conversation. And so there's no real one way we tackle that, but it's really trying to understand where our players are coming from in their worlds, and then trying to adjust what we do to fit what they've got going on. Mesa Byam, for instance, she's a nursing major, so that she is running to clinicals constantly. I mean, her day is busier than mine. And so if we just approach it from a basketball perspective, that's going to be hard for Mesa to have a lot of success there. So it's really just understanding where she's coming from. And then I think the consistency comes from just a work ethic our players are willing to put in every single day. An incredible amount of time, as all the athletes that you'll visit with and see do. But this group has been really solid with that part of it, not gotten themselves distracted. They're just making good choices and staying really true to what they have to get done. But I appreciate that. We use that word a bunch. I try and be that for our players in a day where or a time, I should say, where there's so much extra emotion in the world, trying to be a consistent person in life is important.
Absolutely.
Coach, we'll end you with this. I want to talk about just the momentum behind women's basketball, because you've seen it at so many different levels. Also going to NCAA tournaments, you see it firsthand, right, of how many more eyes are on those tournaments for women, and even more than the men's one this year. How have you seen that growth and development of the women's game?
Yeah, it's awesome. We're in a state right now where, as long as I've been here, they've always supported girls and women's basketball. If you go to a high school game in South Dakota, you're going to be in a gym that values girls basketball. You go to any level of college in our area, people are going to pay attention to it. And so we've always been really just lucky that way. And now you're seeing that on all different, levels. What's happened in the WNBA has been fantastic. There's obviously a lot of positive stuff, a little bit of negative stuff. I think that'll all eventually hopefully work itself out. But it's great to see everybody following it, and that attendance is fantastic, that interest. And that trickles down into the college game. You're seeing more and more college women's teams announcing that they've sold out their season ticket packages across the country. We're going to be really close to that in Brookings with the new arena. I just think it's a great game. I think what our women do to showcase that, how they play and how they stay engaged with communities is so important, and you're seeing that really pay off, I think.
No doubt.
If you build it, they will come, and it's true.
For sure.
You got it.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck up in Brookings.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.